Hello. Welcome to the Rough Characters podcast. I am Philip Overby,
And I am John Palladino.
and we might seem a little unnatural today because we haven't done this in a while. But today, the name of this channel that I host the podcast and other videos on is called Negative a little bit. We're going to rant about some things that annoy us or bother us recently. And if this format works well, we may do this every so often. I know John gets pissed off at a lot of things, so it's a good
What?
it's a good exercise for him. Um, I also get pissed off about things, but I don't really talk about them as much. So this is my chance to vent a little bit about things that bother me as well. So we're just going to call this Ranting with Phil and John until we come up with a better name. So John is the expert at this style of
Am I?
complaining. So let's have him start with something that bothers him.
All right. Well, the first thing on my list is something that we have talked about off air a bit. I do want to caution any Black Mirror listeners out there that there will be spoilers for season 5, episode 4. It's
Season
called
season
Maisie Day.
season
Or is it season
six.
6?
Yeah.
Sorry, my bad. Too many seasons. Season 6. Sorry. It's called Maisie Day. Uh, if you haven't seen that episode, we are going to talk about basically the end reveal stuff. So, fair warning. Anyway, here we go. Maisie Day, werewolves in a sci-fi show. What the fuck?
Well, it's not just that. It's not just the werewolves part. It's Black Mirror, which Black Mirror, the whole concept of the show, right, is supposed to be how technology uh, can affect humanity or whatever in a negative way. Most of the episodes that I've watched hit that pretty well, and I would say even the first
Yeah, this
episode.
one did too, I'd say. In the context, if you're taking like the paparazzi and the cameras and stuff,
Yeah,
and seeing how like stories affects like celebrities or whatever, it does kind of, in my opinion, it started out with like a very classic Black Mirror type story. But definitely on the lower end already of like past episodes, and then the
yeah.
end like just made it even worse.
I just like the more high concept Black Mirror episodes, like
Yeah.
even the first episode of the season was pretty good, I thought, where the AI is it was like an onion, layers and layers and layers and layers. So you think, the lady Joan or whatever, you think that she's actually the main character, but then you find out like this is just spoilers for all of Black Mirror season 6, but basically, um, so you can pause it now if you want to skip this part. Um, but basically, you find out that she's an actor also, so it's like Salma Hayek's an actor, and then it's layers and layers. So I really liked that episode. Like it wasn't a perfect episode, but I liked it like as a Black Mirror episode. But you know, Maisie Day was just like I don't like. I guess I don't like the going back in time episodes where it's like it was set in 2000, early 2000s, which who gives a shit? Like early 2000s, nobody remembers anyway. So like, what was even early 2000s? Um,
Yeah, just okay. Season 6 of Black Mirror overall was like really bad though. Like the first episode was probably my favorite,
Yeah.
and even that one I didn't like that much. It was good, and then episode 2 was very eh. I think
Well,
episode 3 might have been the one that felt the most Black Mirror, but like I didn't like it as much as episode 1.
yeah.
Then of course we have Maisie Day, which was terrible. I still haven't seen episode 5. I really hated episode 4 enough where I'm just like, oh god. I'll watch it eventually, but this season overall, for the wait, it's been absolutely disappointing. We waited so long and I don't know.
Well, I know the creator of the show is saying he's trying to do this new concept called Red Mirror,
Oh,
which the last episode of the season is a Red Mirror episode. So
oh boy.
the concept behind this is that the Red Mirror episodes are more like classic horror or classic. It's not as like black, it's not as technology focused. So the last episode basically has nothing to do with technology.
Oh, okay.
It's just like kind of like a comedy horror uh story.
Hmm.
But originally I think he said he wanted Maisie Day to be a Red Mirror episode because maybe he felt it didn't have
Yeah,
enough
okay.
focus on the technology, but ultimately he decided that it was just a regular episode.
Which is crazy because it just like
Um,
it's not believable, which is what I thought the premise of the show was, is like, you know, believable possibilities that'll happen with technology. But like werewolves, what?
well, it was one of those shows where as I'm watching it, I'm like, okay, what is the twist going to be? Because there's something going on.
Right.
And then when they finally revealed it, I was like, what? I looked at my
I just turned it off right then and
I
now.
looked at my wife
What?
and I looked at my wife and she's like, "What?" So we were both just like, "What is this?"
It was so stupid.
But
Uh,
I just started laughing because it was like I don't know, it felt like it was supposed to be a serious episode, but
yes, it
it be,
did.
it became funny.
Uh,
Um yeah, and then just like the comically like horrible paparazzi, the two that show up and they're like, yeah, we're gonna get pictures and yeah.
I know. And then like
It's like you know they're gonna get
things start
killed.
happening and they like are comically like invested in taking pictures instead of their own
Yeah,
lives. And you're
yeah.
just like,
that
really?
that's a
You're like just gonna stand there and take pictures? Really? Like, what are you doing? That is not realistic at all.
yeah. I think I saw. I mean, I don't want to. I do love Black Mirror as a series overall, but as a fan, I think a lot of fans said Maisie Day was the worst episode in the whole series. Like, not even close. Uh,
Yeah.
just
I mean, I would say that just by werewolves alone.
I mean, I'm trying to think. I mean, there are a lot of interesting werewolf movies and stuff. One you know movie I really like. Uh, I want to say it was from the late '90s or early 2000s called Ginger Snaps, and it's about a girl who's a werewolf, and but they tie being a werewolf with like puberty for a girl. So her growing into a woman and growing into a werewolf are kind of like symbolic. Um, but it's a good like indie horror movie. So I think werewolves can be done well. It's just like if you don't know it's a werewolf story and then it's like werewolves, then you're kind of like
It was so bad. I'm also very biased against werewolves, by the way. Just full disclaimer. I hate just supernatural stuff to begin with in fantasy or sci-fi or anything. I just don't like supernatural stuff like werewolves, vampires, demons, and any of that kind of stuff, spirits. None of that is like things I enjoy in content that I consume. So I was already kind of heavily biased against it, but then add on top of that the premise of Black Mirror and it just like not fitting. And like you said, we didn't know it was a werewolf movie or show. Like
yeah.
what? Like it was just came out of nowhere and it just felt so out of place. I don't know. It was painful to watch.
Well, I think all of the Black Mirror episodes in season 6, like some of them, the pacing felt pretty slow.
Some of
Um,
those episodes were like an hour, 10 hour and a half.
yeah,
I think the first episode was an hour and 10 minutes, maybe. I know the one with Aaron Paul, episode 3, I think that was like an hour and a half. And that
yeah.
one felt like an hour and a half. Like I don't know. That one it was okay. I did there was nothing in that episode surprised me at all. And it was just very I don't know,
Well, there was a theory about
the
that.
wall.
There was a theory about that episode, which I thought was kind of funny. Um,
Oh yeah.
I saw this on Reddit. So, after I watch Black Mirror, sometimes I like to go online and like, okay, I want to see what people thought about this episode just to see if people agreed with me or, you know, whatever. Um, this is spoiler for this episode. Um, so at the end of the episode, when Aaron Paul returns home and there's like blood all over the walls or whatever, and then
Right.
and then he goes into the room and like he falls on the floor and he's like, ah. One person had a theory that Josh Hartnett didn't actually kill his family, but just painted red all over the walls to just show him what it would feel like to be in his shoes, kind of. But then everybody's like, but why would he fall on the ground and start crying if there was just red paint on the walls? Uh,
Right.
so anyway, that was an interesting theory that I saw, but it didn't really make sense. Um, I did like the idea of like, okay, they're trapped on a ship together, and like they're pretty much just going to kill each other, right? I mean, what is the other alternative? Like, hey, I just killed your whole family, so you gonna hang out with me here now?
Yeah.
Anyway, we're kind of going off on the whole season, but
True.
particularly, yeah, Maisie Day was uh, very disappointing. And
Yes.
some of my favorite episodes of TV ever are Black Mirror episodes. So I can't say
I
like,
agree. I agree.
you know, I can't say like I'm never gonna watch Black Mirror again after this season. Like I'm gonna watch it still.
Yeah,
Um,
no, I'm definitely gonna keep watching, but can we please go back to form here?
yeah, the formula that was happening before was working pretty well. So,
Yes, I agree.
but I don't know. As creators, maybe they feel I want to try new stuff. Uh, but yeah, that episode just
I mean, to be fair, there's only so many episodes I feel like of an anthology show like that that you could like have ready to go, and then after that, it's like, yikes! Now what? You
yeah.
know?
Well, my first thing I want to rant about is connected to this in a way. And maybe it's just me, I don't know, but uh I don't know. I see other people say similar things, but uh sometimes I feel like, why the fuck do I have Netflix?
I
Uh
mean, that's fair. There's a lot of really questionable things on there.
and I know there's people that actually subscribe and unsubscribe to streaming services, like when the show
I'm
that they
too
want
lazy for that shit.
the show that they want to watch is finished and they subscribe, unsubscribe. But like, yeah, specifically HBO is one of those. I think like when Game of Thrones ends, people are like, all right, unsubscribe.
Yeah,
Um, but I think HBO, you can't just, I don't know, maybe you can do monthly, but
I do monthly. Yeah.
I'm burned out on streaming, I think. Like I almost
Hmm.
just want to go back to the old days of just like watching normal TV. Um, because there's just so many, it's like if you, when you were a kid or you were younger, you go into like a Blockbuster or video store and they're just like all these choices. And then sometimes you're just like, there's nothing here I want to watch. Like, how is that possible? There's all these choices and there's nothing I want to watch. So that's how I feel on Netflix sometimes. Like, even like I want to watch, there's several things I want to watch, but I just never feel like watching them. I'm just like, I don't know
Hmm.
if it's me or it's like I really want to watch that, but I'm not in the mood to watch that. Um,
I get what you're saying, but I think I have like the exact opposite opinion of you. I hear that a lot. People are burned out about streaming and stuff, but I'm like the complete opposite. I love it so much more than regular TV because I can watch regular shows on like different streaming platforms whenever I want, uh, without the hassle of like recording things or setting up like a DVR or anything like that. Generally, I found that advertisements are much less frequent on streaming. Like they might have the same commercial intervals, but usually the length of time for commercials is much shorter than like live television. Uh, I think I mentioned convenience already. Uh, I just feel like it's a lot easier to find like shows maybe that I would not normally have heard about or known about because of streaming. Uh, I don't know. Then again, you also have a lot of problems with streaming. One, I think the biggest problem that streaming has is they get the data themselves and make decisions maybe faster than network TV. I don't really know how this works, but it seems like streaming services cancel shows a lot quicker than maybe like live TV would, um, which is interesting because I don't know. It just seems like Netflix is an example of that. They spend a ridiculous amount of money on shows and then release it all at once, and that might be part of the problem for making back your money. I don't know, but they cancel shows all the time, and that sucks, right? Canceling a show really blows. But I don't know. I just the convenience of streaming is so nice because you can watch it on so many different devices and anywhere. I like that.
I'm
Unfortunately, I do live in one of those households where it's like you have almost every single streaming service, which like is great, but I also feel really like guilty about that. So much money just like being pissed away every month on like every service. But oh well.
well, I think I think in theory, I like streaming. In theory, it's just I can never. This has been going for years. This is not like a recent feeling I have. It's just like
Right.
um I'll kind of get invested in a TV show and then I'll watch it and then yeah, I don't know, like The Witcher for example, like I liked the first season of it. Um I can't keep up with seasons anymore. I think that's a big problem. I don't know what season I'm watching anymore. I think I'm watching season 2. I don't know.
Oh, really? That's funny.
I have no idea. So I have a hard time keeping up with like everything. And this leads into my next rant point is oversaturation, which I mentioned before. Uh I just feel this goes with books, movies, TV, games. We live in a time where you can get anything you want, really. Um, and I feel like there's so many choices and there's so many things I want to watch or do or whatever that I never have the time to do all of those things. And there was a really good episode of Portlandia. Do you know this show?
I don't. I don't even know if I've heard that name before.
It's like a
Was it
sketch.
Portlandia?
It's a sketch comedy show. It's like a comedy by Fred Armisen and like
Hmm.
Carrie. I can't think of her last name right off.
Brownstein.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, and it's kind of making fun of Portland as like a weird, quirky town or whatever. But there's this one episode where the guy's like checking he's I gotta check my email. Oh, I gotta tweet this out. Oh, I gotta do this. Oh, I have to check this thing and then finally uh he goes to this service and he's just like, I don't want to do this anymore. And they're like, what do you mean? He's like, I don't want to do anything. I don't want email or social media or anything.
Hmm.
And sometimes it almost feels like, and I know people are doing this more and more. They're just leaving social media altogether. They're just like, I don't want to, I can't. And that's another thing with social media. It's like, oh, Twitter is now X, and I don't want to be on this platform. So let's join Threads, which is the new Instagram thing. And oh, I don't like that. Maybe Mastodon will be better. And it's just like so many things you got to keep up with as a person. It's just like,
I didn't put that on my list of things to rant about, but that's a really good thing that really irritates me is the constant quitting of social media announcements. Like,
mm,
dude, either quit and move to your other platform or stop posting about it because there are so many people when every time Elon Musk makes a new announcement, I see the same damn post.
yeah.
I'm done. I'm going to this. I was like, oh my God, just do it or stop talking about it. So I'm so sick of hearing it.
Well,
Anyway,
I always like the comment, this isn't an airport. You don't need to announce your departure or whatever.
yes, exactly. Like,
Because
but to
people
announce it several times, it's like, oh my God, just board the plane now.
people people would do that in like Facebook groups I'm part of. Like
Yep, that happens in
I
groups all the time.
I like this group and but you guys da, so I'm leaving. And then people in the comments like, you don't need to announce your departure.
Yep, I've seen that happen quite a few times. Got all of it.
So yeah, it used to be like, okay, you have Facebook and Twitter, right? You were either a Facebook person or a Twitter person. That's pretty much it. Like people did both, but there was always one you preferred over the other.
Right.
But now there's just like so many things that are trying to be the new thing. And it's like,
Yes.
hey, you want to join me on Flaxelbaum? And I'm like, what is Flaxelbaum? Oh, it's a new social media for blah 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 blah. And it's like, I guess. Like I
Yeah.
joined Threads, but I don't even know what to do with it. It's just like I join these social media things because other people are joining them, and then
Yeah, I haven't joined anything
I
new. Like,
can't keep up with it.
if one of them actually comes up and starts like destroying an established like platform, then sure, I'll jump over if that's where the community is. But all these, for the most part, are a joke and they're not going to go anywhere. So trying to like set up an account is pointless. I don't know. I just, for me anyway, I just don't care. If something, if something is better than Facebook or Twitter or something, then sure. But until it's proven itself to be like a big heavy hitter, then I just have no reason to try. And social media takes a lot of time and efforts to learn and set up, and then actively like take part in it. And like, I don't know, I'm already active on enough.
Yeah. Black Mirror.
That's how I feel about it.
It's the Black Mirror.
Yeah.
Black Mirror. Yeah, I think some days I just want to just turn everything off. Just like turn everything off. Um, but there used to be a period of time like if I didn't have connection to Wi-Fi or internet, like I would freak out about it. Like I'd be like, I have to be able to check this, blah blah blah. But these days, like, yeah, I think like I went somewhere and my wife was like, "Oh, they don't have Wi-Fi here." And I'm like, "That's fine. Like, I don't care." So I think more
That's
and more
fine.
people are getting fatigued by various things. So there's a new streaming service I got to join, or there's a new uh, social media app, or there's a new thing. Like especially for like creative people who want to promote their work, um, they want to join these things, which I can understand because it's a chance to reach a new audience or whatever.
Right.
Um, so I can totally understand that, but at the same time, it's like if you're on all these social media things and you're posting all the time, it's like it's hard to balance that with the rest of your life, I guess.
Sure. Can be.
So, what's your next
All right.
pro-
My
problem?
next thing is, you actually mentioned it earlier slightly, or alluded to it anyway. You're watching The Witcher. Mine is Geralt, the actor, being changed. It's not necessarily just this instance of thing I want to rant about, but like, companies keep making these boneheaded decisions and then being like super surprised when like the reaction is terrible, right? So with Henry Cavill being I think he ended up quitting because they weren't listening to him with the adaptation material or something.
Mm.
I don't know completely. I don't think anyone does really, but to be that like, I don't know, ignorant maybe, or I don't know, the showrunner has said publicly like, we don't really care about the fans. This is not the first time we've heard this. We've heard it with Star Wars, we've heard it with other properties, and it's like, why are people going out of their way to attack or criticize their own fans? Because right now there are rumors that season 4 of The Witcher might not even happen because people aren't watching season 3. Or if they did, they really hated it. I have no idea. I didn't watch season 3. I kind of lost interest when I found out that Henry Cavill was leaving. I've never read the source material, so I don't really care about the source material. I just care about it if the show is good. I enjoyed the first 2 seasons. Uh, but I don't know. There was only one time in the history of like let's recast a character that I ever actually supported and liked it. And the only reason I did was because the main character died, and that was in Spartacus. The main character died of
Oh yeah.
cancer, I think. He was in the first two seasons, and then I think they had two seasons with the recasted person, or maybe it was like three and one. I don't remember,
I think
but
I think he supported it also. So it wasn't like, hey, we're going to replace you. Like I
well,
think that
he
that
died, so
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, I know, but the actor, I think when he was sick,
yeah,
he
yeah. I think
said,
he
"Yeah,
did.
I want you to continue the show," you know.
Yeah, and and the new guy did a really good job. And like you can't be mad. The original guy died, right? So
Yeah.
what can you do there? Uh and that's like the only time that I've
Well,
liked it.
can I say something about Geralt?
Sure.
Uh I remember when they cast Henry Cavill, the whole internet said, "Fucking Henry Cavill, he doesn't look like Geralt. See, Superman is Geralt. Ugh, that's stupid." Ugh. The whole internet said that, and I said, "Give the guy a chance."
Yeah.
And sure enough, he did a great job. So I say the same thing with the next guy. Like, just give him a chance before you shit all over him. So,
To
uh,
be fair, I think the internet does that with most castings.
yeah, that's what I'm
For
saying. Like,
me, I agree with you. Give people a chance. However, when there is no reason to recast, I don't know that you have to like I'm not gonna give them a chance because I don't fucking care anymore. And I think that people who feel the same, like I think that's okay. Uh Maybe he'll do a great job, but it's just gonna be so jarring to have a different person that like and there's no reason for it, right? If Henry Cavill died and they were recasting him, fine. But because it was their own negligence and stupidity, like I don't know. I don't care anymore, right? Like
well, I think I think Geralt can be a character similar to like a Superman or a Batman or a whatever that can be recast, you know, multiple times. It doesn't have to just be Henry
so
Cavill
I
as
would
the Witcher.
disagree because yes, you can have different Geralts, but not in the same show, right? Like there's different Supermans, but those are different iterations. It's not like
Hmm.
one season where everyone else stays the same and you have three different Supermans, right? So like I get what you're saying, and I agree that you can have multiple because anyone who's played the Witcher games, that Geralt is so iconic, right? And for a
Yeah.
lot of people, they were like, "We're never going to be able to do the show because it's not the person that played the character in the show or in the game." And now look at what's happening with Henry Cavill. Everyone loves him. So you can have different iterations, but when it's like the same show or movie series and like every other character is the same actor and stuff, it's just weird. And again, there's no reason for it. So why do it? I don't know. It just seems like they're really shooting themselves in the foot with this one because I don't know.
Well, I think it ultimately might turn out bad. I mean, who knows? But anytime
Oh, I think
anytime a character is recast, yeah, the internet goes crazy and everybody hates it and everybody shits on it or whatever. But
it's true.
um, yeah, it's just the cycle of life, I guess. You know, you look at the Joker. The Joker is one of the most iconic characters in history, and people say, "Oh, nobody can do Joker better than Jack Nicholson," and then nobody can do Joker better than Heath Ledger, and then, oh, nobody can do Joker better than Joaquin Phoenix. And but I mean, how many people are going to play Joker? throughout history. We don't know.
Right.
So great actors bring their own spin to a role. So like Henry Cavill had his spin to The Witcher, and then maybe the new guy will have his own spin to it. We don't know.
Oh, I'm sure he will. I just when it's the same show, I don't think the show is going to survive season 4. If they make season 4, I think it ends. I don't think it'll continue. I think that reception and viewership are going to tank so hard.
I'm trying to think of another series that did that.
I don't know if they've done it. I'm sure there's examples outside of Spartacus and The Witcher, but for the most part, it's absurdly uncommon for the main character of the show to be recast. So I can't think of too many examples of that. But who knows? I mean, The Big Bang Theory, right? I think the first episode, Penny was a different actress, but that was one episode, and um, I don't know. I can't remember if they aired the first episode with the original actress or if they reshot it. I think they aired it. But it was one episode, so you didn't have enough. You didn't even notice, right? Because I don't know. I don't know. There's not any other examples I can think of where like a main character switched.
Well, I think it's more acceptable for movies and less acceptable for TV shows. Um,
Yeah.
let's do a camera reset. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Reset your camera. um, yeah, I think my last point that I had is related to RPGs or
That's funny.
just in general. Um, I just feel like recently when I play certain RPGs, like they're just trying to do too many different things and they're trying to make too many people happy. So it's like,
Fair.
uh, I mean, I miss just like having like a single player RPG with just like no bells and whistles. It's just like, here's the game. Um, and I think Final Fantasy 16 has done a pretty good job of that. I don't feel like I need to get extra stuff or DLC or anything. I feel like the completed experience is there. I mean, if they have
Right.
the DLC or they add stuff, that's fine. But I feel like that it's a case of where I'm not like when I logged on to Diablo the other day, just like
Uh,
so many fucking things popped up on the screen, and I was like, "What is all this shit?" It's just like so many things.
yeah,
um,
stop playing that game.
um, I wanted to see if I could do the season, and I can't because I have to play through the whole game first, apparently.
Yeah.
Um,
I heard about that.
so uh, let's reset your camera again.
Oh man, what is
We
happening today?
we we maybe you're moving your face in and out or something. I don't
Maybe. I don't know.
know. But oh, someone's ringing the doorbell. I don't know what that could be. I don't want to answer it. I usually don't answer the doorbell unless I know what it is.
Yeah.
because it could be a mysterious guest I don't want to talk to.
Oh, those are the worst.
Yeah. Sticking something in my mailbox. They're stuffing
Yeah.
something in my mailbox now. Um. Anyway, what was I talking about? It totally threw me off.
We were talking about
Oh, Diablo just
like,
has all this shit
yeah,
everywhere. So yeah, there's just so many modes and so many different things. Um, yeah, I just feel nostalgic sometimes for just like when you used to just start up a game and press start and just start playing it.
yeah.
But these days you gotta register for this and you gotta do a thing and you gotta blah 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 and you gotta get the pre-order bonus and the da 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 and it's just like
It's annoying.
I'm just kind of burned out on all that stuff. Like I just want to play a game, just want to start the game and just start playing it.
Yeah,
Um,
I
what
got
was
that.
what was a game I bought recently where I was just like, what the fuck? I just want to play the game. Street Fighter 6. So I got Street Fighter 6. And I just wanted to play like one match just to play it a little bit. So like, okay, I'm just gonna play this match quickly. Uh no, I had to make a character and I had to set up this account and I had to do a dee and I just wanted to play one match to just before I went to work or something. So just really annoying, like all the shit they throw at you. Yeah, then Final Fantasy 16 is kind of refreshing in that way. It's like when I start the game, it goes right to the menu. You press continue, goes right to the game. That's it. There's nothing else. So
Nice.
it's a rare occurrence these days because it seems like every time I log in, it's like patch, blah blah blah, updated, blah, 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 blah. And it's just like, okay. I mean, it's not a big deal, but it's just it
Yeah,
it, it
it's
ties
old.
it ties into the oversaturation, overdoing things, feeling like maybe I just need to simplify my life in some ways, like declutter, so to speak. I mean,
Right.
I have all these board games behind me. Speaking of clutter. Um, but yeah, it's like we're almost not competing, but we're almost like seeing how much stuff we can consume as fast as possible. I can do
Right. Yeah.
I consumed everything I needed to consume today. But even then, you're like, you have this feeling like I didn't do this or I didn't do this. I was supposed to do this today, and I didn't. And it's just
Right.
like, oh, I didn't log on to Facebook today. I didn't check my blah 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 blah. It's just like, just always something.
It's true.
So yeah, maybe the overall theme of my rant today is just the need to step back, I guess, and uh, like Marie Kondo says, you know, uh, things that spark joy only keep things that spark joy. So you look at this ruler. Does this make you happy? If no, then get rid of it. So, yeah, maybe I'm just thinking more in this capacity these days because I've tried to keep up with everything and I just can't. And
Right.
I just don't have the and there are some creative people that do that. They just say, "Look, I can't keep up with all this stuff. I'm just going to write my books and then when they're published, I'll tell people about them and then that's it. They just can't keep up with all that stuff." and some people are good at doing that. So, but I don't know if I'm one of those that can just keep up with all the different things I need to be a part of.
Right.
And like, did you see the new Barbie movie? No, I didn't. Did you see
No interest
Oppenheimer?
in that.
No, I didn't.
I also have
Just
no interest in that. I know all
did
about
you see?
Oppenheimer.
Did you see? It's just like, yeah, I guess I want to see it, but it's just like I can't do everything. I can't see everything. Can't play everything.
Right.
Like the
It's
other day,
true.
I'm on a Facebook group and somebody says, uh, don't play Diablo 4, you should get Remnant 2. And I'm thinking, what's Remnant 2? So I'll look it
I've been
up.
playing that.
So I look it up and I'm like, oh, that looks pretty cool.
It's hard.
Now I have to play Remnant 2. I didn't even know what it was. It's just like
Yeah.
as soon as I start playing Diablo, it's like you're like, yeah, I don't even want to play it anymore. So I'm like, well, I kind of got it because I wanted to play with some people that also had it, but now nobody wants to play it anymore. It's like they've already moved on to something else. I
Man,
just I'm just
Diablo
too
3, I
slow.
played so much, and I wanted to play Diablo 4 like an equal amount, but fuck, Diablo 4 sucks.
Maybe
Maybe
if
when they release like the first expansion or something, it'll like really change the game. I mean, that was kind of the case with Diablo 3, except I like Diablo 3 more, even from base game standpoint. But
yeah.
once they added in a few things, then it like really increased like the playability of it. And so I'm just struggling with Diablo 4 right now. If they can change or add something that like makes it more interesting, I don't know. Part of it is the fact that they don't have set items. Like it's very boring without those, I feel like.
Do you have you played all the classes yet?
In Diablo 4.
Yeah.
I've only actually played the Necromancer for like a long time. I tried all the other classes, a small amount. Um, I regret picking the Necromancer as my main class, but oh well.
Well, that might have soured your whole experience in a way, because I think if I had picked the
It's true.
Necromancer as my main character, I probably would have not been as excited about it either.
Yeah,
But
Necromancer is not good in this game.
but
Much better than Diablo 3.
sorcerer is pretty good. So like
Mm,
when I get back to Diablo eventually, because right now I'm pretty much just playing Final Fantasy 16. Um, I'm trying to. This is the simplification part. Like I'm really trying to not play a bunch of other stuff right now. Um,
yeah,
I've been playing Mortal Kombat here and there if I feel like it, and I've been playing Mordhau here and there when I feel like it, but
yeah.
mostly
Mordhau is hard.
mostly just Final Fantasy 16 is my main like story game I'm playing. The other games are just like, you know, pick up pick up and play quick kind of thing.
Right.
Final Fantasy 16, I mean, I know we talked about this before, but like I think this is the most I've ever heard the word fuck used in any RPG, not just Final Fantasy. They use the word
That's
fuck
funny.
so many times. Like they'll be fighting each other and one person will go, fuck. It's like, what the hell?
So weird
Yeah,
for Final Fantasy.
it feels like a different game, but in a Final Fantasy universe, if that makes sense.
Right.
So but it feels it's feeling more and more like a Final Fantasy game the more I go on, because it's starting to get into like the not convoluted, but like Final Fantasy stuff
Yeah.
where it starts off like where it's like, oh, this is a normal world and these are people
Yeah.
and then as you go in the game, it's just like, all right, what the fuck is
And
this?
they're like, let's get into the history of the Espers. And you're like, I don't give a fuck about any of this. why are we trying to make this weird? Because every Final Fantasy game that I've ever played, with the exception of like Tactics, I think, uh it's just really weird with like the random magic and like
Yeah.
other realms and stuff. And it's just like, stop it. Stop it. You had a good storyline. What are you doing? Just stop it.
Well, luckily, it's not. It's not like the main. It's kind of
Right.
a. It's kind of a big. It feels like it's building up to that eventually. Like whatever this weird shit's happening is going to build up to like the main conflict of the story ultimately. But all the like smaller stuff, like interacting with the human characters and stuff, is all pretty interesting.
Right.
So that keeps me grounded. And then when you get into like the weird Final Fantasy shit, I'm like, I don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
And I think they don't want you to know what's happening. So they
Never
want you to
seems like they do.
they want you to be intrigued and see what's going to happen, but it's usually the payoff is not good in the Final Fantasy games. It's like,
Right. That's so
oh,
true.
it's a god. Okay, I have to kill a god.
So it's so annoying because every game gets like spoiled by that random shit. And you're just like, what are we doing now? Why is this
I
happening?
don't know where this comes from. Like Japan is not a religious country, so I don't know where all this like god stuff comes from. Like you have to kill god, you have to kill a god that's trying to destroy the universe or something. It's like, where is this coming from? But I don't know. There's no there's no fighting a god stuff in Final Fantasy 16 yet. But there's weird stuff happening.
You'll fight a god later.
You're fight something akin to a god. It looks like I don't know. Just creepy weird shit happens, and you're like, what is this creepy weird shit?
Right.
All right,
Um,
that's all I have today.
that's really funny.
But one more thing I want to mention is you need to reset your camera again.
Oh, sorry. I was reading I wasn't paying attention to the video. I was reading. I did some reading on Final Fantasy 16, just curiosity of something. But I don't want to say because I don't want to spoil it for you, so I won't. So I only have one thing left. I actually have two things left. The first thing we don't really need to talk about because I think we've talked about it before. That's that I have very much annoyed by the shift in combat, like the change in combat style in Final Fantasy. Uh, why change what was so good? I don't know. Uh, and so that's really annoying to me. Like, I don't like that so many games are trying now to appeal to like wider audiences. I get why they do it. Money, obviously. But like you can still stay in your, I don't know, like your specific niche and like be really appealing, right? Like uh the Elder Scrolls, I feel like appeals to a ton of people. And that has, I don't know if it really caters to a mass audience. I don't know. Uh what's that other game? Not it's like really hard game. Elden Ring. That's what it is.
Mm.
That doesn't appeal to the mass audiences, and yet look at that. Like, so it's just annoying to me that like my favorite games when I was a kid are not anymore. But like Final Fantasy used to be like so cool to me, and then they changed that. But it's really annoying to me.
Well, here's the thing. I've been a Final Fantasy fan, my whole life.
Yes.
Um, and I like Final Fantasy 16. I actually think it's cracked the top three favorites for me. Um, because it has that Final Fantasy feeling to it, but it's fresh and it feels fresh in a way. The combat is the thing that people keep latching onto so much, which combat is a big part of the game, but I think usually people like Final Fantasy games because of the characters and the story and stuff like that. And I think this game
Right.
has some of the strongest characters and story that I've seen in a Final Fantasy game in a long time. So that's what keeps me playing. The combat can be, I mentioned this before, but it can be repetitive if you're using the same abilities all the time. So if you balance if you try different things, it can be less repetitive, I feel. Um,
Right.
but I mean, every Final Fantasy game's combat's repetitive. I mean, there's certain abilities you
That's
use,
fair.
right? You use attack, you use your magic. You have to change your strategy sometimes depending on what the enemy is. It's the same in Final Fantasy 16. There's some enemies you can just go in and hack, and kill them. There's other enemies you can't do that because they'll fucking stomp you or they'll blast you with something. So there's certain enemies. So every time I fight a boss in Final Fantasy 16, I feel scared because I don't know what it's going to do. So
Right.
that's part of what keeps me interested in the game is when I fight bosses, uh, they're not predictable. They have patterns, but they go through stages also. So like you'll beat them at one stage and then they'll kind of change their abilities. They'll start doing stronger things or whatever. Um,
Right.
so it plays like a Final Fantasy game in the same way, is that you're using a lot of your same abilities that you would use in a turn-based game, but you're just able to control it. So um yeah, I think like when I play Final Fantasy games, I have like my party I like, and I usually have my spells or my abilities that I use a lot. So it's the same thing in this game. There's certain abilities I really like, and then as you progress in the game, you get new abilities, and like, oh shit, I like this one more than I like the last one.
Right.
So I do feel like it as a Final Fantasy game, uh, it ticks a lot of the boxes of why I like Final Fantasy. It doesn't tick the turn-based box, but it it
Yeah, that's depressing.
the but the combat is engaging enough. And to be honest, when I was playing some other games, I was thinking, well, everybody likes these games, and it's not that far off the same combat. So I think just the fact that it's a Final Fantasy game and it has action based combat is what turns people off. Um,
Right.
so, but you haven't even played it, so it's kind of one
That's
of the
true.
it's kind of
Maybe
one of
one day.
it's kind of one of those don't knock it till you try it kind of things, I guess. Um, but yeah, I think series Final Fantasy has always been a series that's evolved and not stayed the same. So
True.
um, yeah, I think if it was just doing the same thing every time, people would get bored with it. And
Yes, but could we like keep the turn-based part and keep party members? Like those are my two things that I'd like.
I mean, play Dragon Quest.
No, damn it. I hate Dragon Quest. I want to play Final Fantasy.
So
Uh,
you like the turn-based party style? Dragon Quest has that,
I
but
don't like Dragon
you
Quest
don't
though.
like Dragon Quest. You like
No, I
you,
like Final Fantasy, damn it.
but why do you like Final Fantasy? Because of the world and the characters.
Yes, Dragon
So
Quest looks like a game for like okay, now, you're gonna get me in trouble. I can't be talking, okay? Jeez.
anyway, uh,
I just don't like Dragon Quest. It's not for me. I apologize to anyone who likes Dragon Quest, but I fucking hate it, and I think it's dumb, and I think it's for children.
So Final Fantasy. So this is why I think you would like Final Fantasy 16, because it's a more mature story and it's Final Fantasy. So if you
Right.
if you forgive the it's not turn-based part and just enjoy the story and enjoy the world, I think you would like it.
Yeah, I probably would like the story, but fuck, I know I'm not gonna like the combat. It's like, do I want to spend $70 on a game where I like hate playing it?
But but you liked Hogwarts Legacy, right?
Dude, that was a really fun game.
Okay. And what is the combat in that game?
I love that game despite the combat. Although the
Okay, so
combat, but the combat in that game makes sense. Now, I will also say, turn-based Harry Potter games, I used to really like back in the day. They're really fun. So if they did turn-based, I wouldn't be upset with it. However, the wand and magic type thing, like it makes sense for it to be that way. I'm not saying it doesn't make sense for Final Fantasy to be an action-based combat based on the type of like game it is. It just doesn't make sense because it's always been a turn-based RPG until recently.
yeah.
Makes me
Well,
sad, Phil.
sorry.
It's okay. My feelings don't matter.
So I feel there are people that are core Final Fantasy fans that like Final Fantasy 16. And I don't think we should be, because I see people trying to bully these people or say their opinions are stupid or whatever because they like Final Fantasy 16 by the hardcore
Right.
traditionalists. And it's like you can love old Final Fantasy and like new Final Fantasy. It's not going to hurt you.
Yes, that is very fair. I would never criticize anyone for any game they like. It's just not, I said earlier I don't like Dragon Quest. I fucking hate Dragon Quest. I don't care if you like Dragon Quest. Enjoy Dragon Quest. I hope everyone that plays it, that loves it, enjoys every entry that comes out. That's great for them. Final Fantasy has always been a game that I've loved, and I just feel like they left me in the dust by changing the combat style. It just makes me really sad because I don't know, turn-based combat has always been my favorite. I really like the strategic like type of combat that it is. I don't know. It's always been my thing.
So play Persona or play the Tales of
No, Persona
series,
sucks.
or
Oh, the
play
Tales games suck.
or play the Trails of games,
No, those games suck
or
too.
play I mean there's so many choices.
Yes, and Final Fantasy was one of those choices. Okay. Damn it, Phil. Why do I have
There's
to?
so many good turn-based games that aren't Final
Yeah,
Fantasy.
Final Fantasy. Oh, wait.
That aren't Final
It
Fantasy.
screwed us over. uh, it's fine. I'll get over it. Yeah, there's rumors that they're remaking Final Fantasy 9, I think.
With
And as
action.
much as I hate the action combat, I don't know. As much as I hate the action combat, Final Fantasy 7 remake had. I'm not saying this isn't true of 16. I haven't played 16, so I don't know offhand. I've seen trailers, so I think it's true of 16 as well. But holy shit, the 7 remake had amazing graphics, and I'm sure 16 does as well. But Final Fantasy 9 has always been like my favorite of the core series. That and 6. But 9 was like always a really special game to me because I actually beat it, and I just really connected with the first like 4 party members, and I loved the story. And so to see that game with like modern graphics would be really cool, especially because I think aesthetically it's my favorite of the Final Fantasy games outside of Tactics. Tactics would be my favorite. But yeah, so seeing 9 remade, I really hope that is true. And I won't even criticize the action combat because it would be worth seeing that game with like these new graphics, I think. It'd be awesome. I hope
Yeah.
it's real.
Well, actually, Final Fantasy 16, I did a fight like all of like how in the fuck they put this together. It's like amazing. Like some of the cutscenes and the you know taking place in the middle of a battle and stuff. It's pretty epic. But
Nice.
Final Fantasy 9, that's a game I could see them actually keeping turn based and remaking it. Because Final Fantasy 9 was always kind of the throwback Final Fantasy, back to fantasy kind of game. Uh,
Yes, I love that.
so I could see that happening, but I don't know if they would want to do that or not.
I just can't imagine that they ever make a Final Fantasy turn-based game again, even if it's remake. But what do I know? It just seems like that'd be going like so backwards for them, right? Like they still make turn-based games at the company. I just think it would be interesting if they did that.
Um, what's your last thing you want to talk about?
That's a really long discussion. Maybe we'll save it.
Save it for another day. Okay.
I think so. That's like that was gonna be my big one, but we've already talked so long that I just don't know that I should bring that up. My camera's screwing up again.
Hmm. It's all right.
Uh, yeah, I mean, I guess I can mention it briefly, but unless you want me to save it.
Well, mention what it is, and we can whoever's watching this, we can tease it for next time.
I
Maybe.
wanted to get into the discussion of media in general with the remakes, the retellings, the remasters, and why all of that sucks. But I feel like I
Yeah.
could talk about a lot of that for a while. So perhaps next time.
Does all of that suck though?
Yes.
What
Yes, it
about
does.
what about like Tactics Ogre?
What about Tactics Ogre?
That's a remaster.
Yeah,
Did,
and
did
it'd
you
be much better if they had a new one, right?
did you play it?
I did.
And did
And the whole
you
time I was like, this is great. But because I didn't really play the old one, so that's why it's great for me. But
that's why.
I guess. But that's the only reason. And honestly, like just I would prefer they just made new. We're getting into this, and it's going to be a
Okay,
disaster.
yeah, we'll wait.
I could rant for an hour about just that subject alone. I feel like, maybe not, but
Well, we'll save it.
all right.
Well, that has been our rant. We decided to target some things that have annoy us or irritate us, and now we feel a little better. It's kind of like a therapy.
Trying to
Cathar-
think if I actually feel better or more annoyed, and I
cath-
think I feel more annoyed.
cath- cathartic. Uh, yeah, I don't. I think I got some clarity though. I think
On
I
what?
I think I need to simplify my life more.
Oh, okay.
I think I need to quit chasing everything and just focus on the things I like and quit trying to be part of everything because
Well, great. I'm glad this therapy session went well.
it's just not it's just not possible to do everything. And
No, it's not. It definitely
and,
is not.
and people that feel the same way, like if you're listening to this and you feel overwhelmed with just all the stuff you got to keep track of, You don't really have to. You, just focus on the things you like and focus on the things that, you want to do. And then, you'll get where you want to be in life by focusing on those things, hopefully. So
I
you
think
don't
it's
have,
really important that you focus on the things that you personally like and less on things that people are telling you to go do.
yeah. Yeah. Cause sometimes, yeah, you may feel, oh, I have to join this new service, or oh, I want to watch this show. I guess I gotta subscribe to this thing. And even today, I've been curious about Final Fantasy 14 for years. I'm not really into that kind of game, but I've always wanted to kind of play it. And I was thinking, oh, it's on sale right now. Maybe I'll get it. And then I thought, it says 30-day free trial. What the hell does that mean? And then I looked and, oh, you have to subscribe to this also.
Yeah. Yeah.
No. I can't subscribe to anything else. So, there's just so many things to keep up with. And
Yes, there is.
we don't have to keep up with everything. Just keep up with the things you like. All right. Did you want to share anything?
Uh oh, you mean like promotionally?
Sure.
I don't know. Go buy my books, Trial of Ashmount and Buzzard's Bowl.
Yeah. Go buy them. And go buy my book. It's not out yet, but
They might have a hard time buying it then.
I'm just telling you in advance whenever it's out. All right. Well, that's all for today. Thank you for watching. If you made it this far, hopefully we didn't depress you too much. Take care.
Yes, have a
Bye
good one,
bye.
everyone.
Bye bye.